Hey, stop scrolling for a second and listen up because this one might hit you right in the gut. Most folks picture a heart attack like something out of a movie. Big dramatic chest pain, left arm going numb, and then you just collapse on the floor with everyone rushing in. That's the version we all expect, right? But here's the part that stops people cold once they hear it. After you turn 60, the scariest heart events are usually the quiet ones. They creep up slow while you're sound asleep. No warning lights, no time to shout for help, no second chance. And what really shocks folks later is that these silent disasters almost always get started by something totally ordinary, something you did right before you switched off the lamp, something that felt completely normal at the time. I've spent over 20 years right in the middle of it all, seeing chests opened up, arteries repaired, and hearts literally held in hands during those make-or-break moments. And through all those years, I've watched the exact same preventable patterns play out night after night in people who had zero clue they were hurting themselves with stuff they did every single evening. Tonight, I'm laying out 5 of those hidden patterns, 5 everyday habits that quietly load the gun while you sleep. Then I'll show you step by step exactly how to unload it, one simple night at a time. Stick with me here. What you pick up in the next few minutes could honestly be the most valuable thing you hear all year. Here's something a ton of people don't realize. Your heart and blood vessels don't just clock out when you fall asleep, they shift into a different gear. In a healthy system, nighttime is when blood pressure naturally drops, usually 10 to 20% lower than daytime levels. Your heartbeat slows, your arteries ease up. It's like the body's built-in reset button, a kind of nightly maintenance that's been running your whole life. But after 60, that system gets a little less reliable. The vessels stiffen up, the pressure control gets sloppy, and some of the protective hormone signals that used to shield your heart at night start to fade. The safety margin shrinks way down. Think of it like this. During the day, your cardiovascular setup has backup plans. It can adjust and compensate. At night, a lot of those backups are offline. The body's basically running on a skeleton crew. That's exactly why the hours between midnight and 6 in the morning carry the highest chance of heart attack or stroke once you pass 60. Not the busy afternoon, not the morning rush hour, the quiet hours when nobody's watching, but your habits sure are. And here's what flips the whole story around. What happens in those risky hours is mostly decided by what you did right before bed. The meal you finished, the pill you took or skipped, the temperature you set in your room, choices that felt totally routine. That's what we're digging into right now, starting with the one that surprises people the most. Let me ask you this. What time did you eat dinner last night, and what was actually on your plate? I ask every single person that question, and for way too many folks over 60, the answer is somewhere around 8 or 9 at night, sometimes even 10. A full plate of pasta, rice, meat, maybe something fried, then straight to the couch and into bed an hour or 2 later. I get why it happens. Long days, family stuff, lifelong habits. But from a heart point of view, this habit is quietly stressing your ticker more than most people ever imagine. Here's exactly what goes on inside you. When you finish a big meal, your gut demands a huge surge of blood flow to handle the digestion. Your heart has to pump harder, blood pressure climbs, and those fats in your blood, the triglycerides, shoot up sharply within 2 to 4 hours. Now, pile that on top of going straight to sleep. Your body's expecting a calm wind down, not a full-on cardiovascular workout. Instead, your heart is working overtime to digest dinner while it's also trying to switch into nighttime recovery mode. Those two jobs fight each other. And in someone over 60 with any amount of artery stiffness, that fight can have real consequences. Research backs this up solid. Studies show that eating within 2 to 3 hours of bedtime is linked to higher nighttime blood pressure, more acid reflux that can trigger heart-like symptoms, and a noticeably bigger chance of cardiovascular trouble while you sleep. One large analysis even tied late, heavy dinners to almost double the risk of certain heart events in older adults. The fix isn't some crazy diet overhaul. Just finish your main meal by 6 or 7 in the evening. Keep anything later light. Think lean protein and veggies. Skip the heavy fats and big carbs. Does your dinner schedule sound anything like what I just described? You'd be amazed how many people say yes and never connected the dots to their heart. Now, this next one, I really need you to pay close attention because this is where so much preventable damage happens. If you're over 60
and you take medicine for high blood pressure, and stats say more than 60% of people in that age group do, then the exact timing of that pill matters way more than most folks ever get told. Your blood pressure normally follows a pretty steady daily curve. It climbs in the morning, peaks mid-afternoon, then drops at night. But a big chunk of people over 60, especially those with hypertension, never get that healthy nighttime dip. Their pressure stays high or even spikes in the early morning hours. Doctors call this nocturnal hypertension, and most people have never even heard the term, yet it's dangerous in ways regular daytime high blood pressure isn't. While you sleep, your artery walls aren't braced the same way. A sudden pressure jump at 3 in the morning can rupture a weak spot in a coronary artery, trigger a clot, or send someone straight into trouble faster than the same jump would during the day. If you only take your blood pressure medicine in the morning, it can wear off right when you need protection most. Skip it altogether, and you're basically unprotected during the most vulnerable stretch of the night. The simple move? Have a 2-minute chat with your doctor about switching to evening dosing. Strong evidence from the Hygeia chronotherapy trial, a major study that followed thousands of patients, showed that taking blood pressure meds at night cut overall cardiovascular events by nearly half compared to morning dosing, with especially big drops in nighttime heart attacks and strokes. That's not a tiny tweak. That's potentially life-changing information. Don't assume timing doesn't matter. In heart health, timing can be everything. And most people over 60 have never even had that short conversation. Let me ask you something else. Do you know anyone who snores? A spouse, a parent, maybe even yourself? That loud, uneven rumbling at night? Most families treat it like a joke, something to tease about or poke your partner over. I treat it as a serious red flag until we prove otherwise. After all these years, I mean that 100%. Sleep apnea is one of the most missed and underestimated problems I see in folks over 60. Estimates from major health groups put it at over 30% of older adults having some form of it, and the huge majority have never been checked or treated. They have no idea what it's doing to their heart every single night. Here's what actually happens in an apnea episode. You stop breathing for 10, 20, 40 seconds, sometimes longer, and it can happen dozens of hours every night. Each time, oxygen in your blood tanks, your brain panics, and it fires off a massive stress response. Adrenaline, cortisol, heart rate, and blood pressure shooting up instantly. Your heart basically jolts awake while the rest of you is still out cold, night after night, year after year. Picture that hitting 30, 40, 50 times in one night. The toll on your cardiovascular system isn't small. Research shows sleep apnea is tied to roughly 3 times the risk of heart attack. It also strongly links to irregular rhythms like atrial fibrillation, which itself skyrockets stroke odds. It speeds up the thickening and hardening of artery walls, and because it all happens while you're asleep, most people stay clueless until something serious hits. Warning signs aren't always loud snoring. Watch for morning headaches, feeling wiped out even after 8 hours in bed, getting up to pee multiple times, dry mouth when you wake, or that choking sensation. If any of that rings a bell, talk to your doctor about a sleep study. For anyone over 60 with snoring plus any heart history, getting checked isn't optional. It's basic heart care. The usual fix, a CPAP machine, isn't fancy, I know, but the numbers are impressive. People who stick with it see real drops in blood pressure, fewer atrial fibrillation episodes, and significantly lower overall cardiac risk. One simple device, one new habit, huge protection.
Does anyone in your house snore? Have you ever been told you stop breathing at night? Think about that before we move on. This next habit sounds so logical, you almost miss how risky it is. A lot of people over 60 cut back on fluids in the evening on purpose. The reason makes total sense. They don't want to wake up at 2 in the morning needing the bathroom. Interrupted sleep feels awful, and getting up at night raises fall risk, so they stop drinking after dinner, sometimes as early as 4 in the afternoon. I totally understand the thinking, but from a heart standpoint, going to bed even a little dehydrated is a real risk factor that almost nobody talks about. When you're low on fluids, your blood gets thicker, more viscous. It doesn't slide through your vessels as easily. In a young, healthy system, that's just an annoyance. In someone over 60 dealing with stiffer arteries and plaque buildup, it's a different story. Thick blood moves slower through already narrowed passages and is more likely to form clots. Now add the timing issue most people never consider. During deep sleep, your heart rate naturally slows down, so blood is already circulating slower. Combine that slow flow with thicker blood, 7 or 8 hours of lying still, and arteries that may already be narrowed. That mix is exactly why so many strokes and heart attacks cluster in the early morning. The fix is honestly simple. Drink a full 8-ounce glass of water before bed. That's it. Just enough to keep your blood from getting unnecessarily thick overnight. Keep another glass on the nightstand for when you wake up. That little bit of thirst you feel at 2 a.m. is your body and your heart asking for help. You don't have to pick between good sleep and heart protection. Here's one that surprises almost everyone I mention it to because it sounds too basic to matter. What temperature is your bedroom at night? Most people have never thought about it in heart terms. They just pick whatever feels comfy. But there's a sweet spot your cardiovascular system loves, and outside that range, your heart works harder than it needs to all night long. First, too warm. If your room stays above about 72 degrees Fahrenheit, your body spends the night trying to dump heat. Blood vessels open up wide, heart rate stays higher, you sweat more and lose extra fluid, which circles us right back to the dehydration issue. Plus, your sleep gets lighter, so you miss out on the deep restorative stages where the heart gets its best overnight repair. On the flip side, a really cold room, below about 63 or 64 degrees, causes the opposite problem. Cold makes blood vessels tighten up to hold in core heat, blood pressure climbs, and your heart has to push against more resistance. For anyone with existing artery disease or high blood pressure, that extra nighttime strain isn't minor. The sweet spot that keeps everything calm is between 65 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. That range keeps your body thermoneutral, vessels relaxed, heart rate steady and low, sleep deep and restorative. One simple thermostat setting, real protection. Everything I've walked you through so far could sound like a long list of worries. Let me flip that completely. When you put all 5 habits together, you actually get a clear, doable evening blueprint that tackles every single one without turning your life upside down. I call it the heart-safe wind down, and it fits right into normal life. Between 6 and 7 in the evening, that's your window for the main meal. Lean protein, plenty of vegetables, a sensible portion of carbs if you want them. Nothing huge, nothing skipped. Just a proper dinner at a reasonable hour, so your heart gets 3 to 4 hours to settle before sleep. Around the same time, handle your water and any medications. If you haven't talked to your doctor about moving blood pressure meds to evening, this is your reminder. That quick chat could make a massive difference. Between 8 and 9, keep things calm. Maybe a gentle walk, some reading, a quiet talk with someone you love. This is the perfect time to step away from bright screens because they mess with melatonin and keep your nervous system wired longer than it should be. By 9, check your bedroom. Set the thermostat, crack a window for fresh air if you can, put that glass of water on the nightstand. Takes 90 seconds, matters a ton. By 10, you're in bed. And one last free tip. If you snore or have ever been told you stop breathing, try sleeping on your side instead of your back. Back sleeping makes airway blockage way worse. A simple position switch can cut apnea episodes a lot while you work on getting checked.
Dinner by 7. Water and pills at 7. Calm evening till 9. Room ready by 9. Bed by 10 on your side. The question isn't whether this routine works. The research is clear it does. The only question is whether you'll actually do it. And that answer is up to you. I want to be straight with you for a moment. I've stood in operating rooms at 3 in the morning holding a heart that stopped because a clot formed overnight in a narrowed artery. I've sat with families in waiting rooms at dawn who had no idea anything was wrong when they said goodnight just hours earlier. I've read reports on people who were planning grandkids' birthdays the week before. And case after case, the contributing pieces weren't mysterious medical flukes. They were a late heavy dinner, a skipped or mistimed pill, a bedroom that stayed too warm, a body quietly running low on water, or an airway that had been collapsing for years while everyone wrote the snoring off as no big deal. These aren't exotic risks. They're the background noise of millions of regular evenings, and that noise, night after night, year after year, can turn into a cardiac event nobody saw coming, simply because nobody knew to look. The truth 20-plus years in those rooms has taught me is this: most of the hearts I've had to fix didn't fail from bad luck. They failed from bad information, information the person never had. You have it now. The only thing left is what you do with it tonight. Not next week, not after your next checkup. Tonight. Let's wrap it all up with a clear action list you can start this evening. 1. Finish your main meal by 6 or 7. Nothing extreme, just a sensible dinner at a sensible time. 2. Have that quick talk with your doctor about moving blood pressure medicine to evening if it fits you. That single conversation could be the most important medical chat you have this year. 3. If you snore, wake up tired, or anyone has ever mentioned you stop breathing, get checked for sleep apnea. At 60 plus, this isn't optional. It's part of taking your heart seriously. 4. Drink a full glass of water before bed and keep one on the nightstand. Don't let your blood thicken overnight just to avoid one bathroom trip. 5. Set your bedroom between 65 and 72 degrees. That one number protects your vessels and costs you nothing. Now, I'm asking you straight. Which of these 5 habits feel familiar in your own life? I bet at least 2 or 3 hit close. You're not alone. Most people recognize themselves here. The difference now is you know exactly what to do. If this helped you even a little, share it with someone. A spouse, a sibling, a friend over 60 who's never connected their nightly routine to their heart. Send it their way. Take care of that heart. It's been working for you every single minute of every single night your whole life. Give it the conditions it needs to keep going strong. One last thing. Everything here is general information based on current heart research and years of seeing patterns up close. It's not a replacement for your own doctor's advice. Especially before changing any medication schedule, please talk to your physician. That's not just a disclaimer, that's real advice from someone who wants you still around and healthy, watching videos like this 10 years from now. He died in his sleep because of this. I beg you, stop doing it. It leads to heart attacks and strokes.